41, 42, 43, 44, 40...
Hey, Adrian, what you doing?
I was working on Mr. Villagrana's project. I was counting step by step.
Wait, the one for special right triangles?
Yep.
There's a way easier way to do this than counting foot by foot for the dimensions.
What's a way easier way?
There's a formula for this, Adrian. Mr. Villagrana told us in class.
Really? I don't pay
Yeah,
attention.
look, Adrian, Mr. Villagrana told us the width of the football field is 160 feet.
Oh!
You didn't have to count with your
I
feet.
didn't.
No. So, using the properties of right triangles, we can figure out the other side. This value right here.
Okay, how do we do that?
Adrian, it's super simple. All we have to do is remember the equation Mr. Villagrana taught us for 30, 60, 90 triangles. So first, all we have to do is make sure that we have our hypotenuse. That's what we have to use to solve for this. The short side is n, which means our long side is going to be n square roots of 3. And our hypotenuse is going to be 2n. But we can name it y because we need to solve for that too. Adrian, remember, if we just write it down, it's much easier.
Yes.
N equals 160 feet. But then we can also put y is going to equal 2n. And our x is going to equal n square roots of 3. This looks very difficult, but if you listened in class, you would know that we can just substitute it in. So first we're going to solve for right here. N equals 160 feet. Now if we just substitute n, we can solve for y. So if we have 2 times 160, that's going to equal 320. So we know our y equals 320. So our hypotenuse equals 320. Now for our length, all we have to do is substitute for n. So 160 square roots of 3. It's that simple, Adrian. Our length is 160 square roots of 3.
Whoa, that's crazy.
But he wants us to solve for the area of the triangle and the perimeter. 60 square roots of 3 is equal to 277. So that means that our length is equal to 277. So now we can find our perimeter. All we have to do is add 320 for our hypotenuse, plus 277 for our length, plus 160 for our width. Our perimeter is 757 feet. And for the area, this one's a little more complicated. And to do this, you just multiply the width times the length and divide it by 2. So 160 times 277 is equal to 44,340. But that right there is the area for the whole field, and we only want the triangle. So what we have to do is divide it by 2, and that is equal to 22,170.
But Mr. Villagrana also wants us to make it a 45, 45, 90 triangle.
That's even easier. Look, let's imagine that this field was a square, and we have a hypotenuse running right through the middle. There's a simple formula. One side is 160 feet. And because it's a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, we know that the other side is also going to be 160 feet. That means that our first n is going to be equal to 160. And our x, or another n, is going to be equal to 162. All we have to solve for is our y. And there's a simple equation. It's just n square roots of 2. And we know that n is equal to 160, so we know that it's 160 square roots of 2. Isn't that simple, Adrian?
Yes, it is. I was overthinking it.
That means our hypotenuse, y, is equal to 160 square roots of 2. And our width is equal to 160. But Mr. Villagrana also wants us to find the area and perimeter. So Adrian, how do we find the perimeter?
So we're supposed to add these two and then add 226 to it. So 160 plus 160 equals 320. And 320 plus 226, it's 226 because 160 square roots of 2 equals 226. That's why the 226 is there. So if we add 320 to 226, that would give us 546.
So our equation is length times width divided by 2.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 160 times 160 equals 25,600. But since it's a triangle that we're solving for, we have to divide this by 2, which would give us 12,800. And that would be our area.
Wow, that was so easy. I was there for an entire hour trying to count with my feet.
Dang, imagine if I wasn't here to help you.
Oh my God, it would have gone so bad.